I blew another account back in August, extending my streak as a losing trader and my record as being unprofitable. Um, and that's okay. But since then, I've decided to make some changes. I'm going to break that streak, and I'm going to do it right now. In fact, I started today with a new eval with my funded futures. Um, if you've been following for any length of time, you might know that I traded stocks with Trade the Pool. And I learned how to trade by doing that. I know how to trade. My problem isn't my technical ability, it's my mental game. I self-sabotage at the worst times. The reason I decided not to trade the pool anymore is because stocks just aren't working for me. I'm going to try futures, and the reason I'm going to try futures is because I need fewer choices in a day. I need to have to make fewer decisions each morning. And with stocks, I had a watch list of about a dozen names, less than a dozen names, maybe 8. They were all high volume, high volatility tech stocks. But the problem is you got to choose the right one each morning, and then you have to figure out which way it's going to go. And you really never know. So futures makes a lot more sense in that regard. I'm just looking at NQ and ES. And that's it. Simplicity. And on that subject, I spent the last 3 weeks, almost a month now, paper trading NQ and ES. And I back tested 3 months of data with NQ and ES to get myself comfortable with futures and what I was stepping into. The results were awesome. The backtesting results with my strategy were fantastic. I took 65 trades over, I don't know, it was like 75 or 80 days. And I had a 75% win rate with a 4 point something, no, it was a 3 point something profit factor. I'll take that any day of the week. That's not a reflection of what real trading is going to look like. But for backtesting, that's awesome. My paper trading, I paper traded for almost 3 weeks, and I finished that run with a 70% win rate and a profit factor of 2. I'm happy with that as well. It's probably some beginner's luck. This happens, when you switch things up. But so far, things are just making more sense to me. The other thing I did is I adjusted my strategy a little bit. I use the break and retest strategy, and I typically just trade on, support and resistance key levels. I don't give it a lot more thought than that. But what I've started doing now with futures is I'm paying a lot more attention to the Asian and London sessions, marking out those levels, the highs and lows, and waiting for some kind of event before looking for an entry, some kind of liquidity sweep or something of that nature. The other thing I started doing with my strategy, which I didn't do before consistently, is I always mark out a 1 hour trend line on my chart. If I don't have a trend line on my chart, I'm not trading that day. And if I do have a trend line on my chart, that trend line basically dictates what my plan is for the day. If I'm bearish or bullish, and what areas are going to serve as my entries and exits from that point. So a lot has changed in the last 3 weeks. I'm making this video as a way to kind of document the beginning of a new volume of this journey of mine, becoming a profitable day trader. Everything I've done to this point has not worked in terms of success, but I look at it as though it's been an incredible learning opportunity, and I think I've come very far. Where I was in the beginning, I thought I had an idea of what I was doing, and I was just looking for pullbacks and entering positions willy-nilly, assuming that I was in alignment with what the market was doing. And that was foolish, obviously. I didn't get anywhere. But now I actually have a firm understanding of the charts, how to read them, market movement, and I have a real strategy that I've spent enough time on kind of personalizing that it is mine, and I understand it to its core. So that's all really great, and I'm going to lean into that. The other major thing that's changing, my ambitions and my objectives. I started this with a sense of urgency. My life is sort of in shambles financially. I had a pretty solid real estate business. I thought it was a solid real estate business for a while. And I found out the hard way that we were incredibly over leveraged and horribly positioned for rate cuts back in whenever that was, 2002. Wiped me out. And that event triggered some health event that has been just grinding me into the dirt for 2 years. So I came into this with a sense of urgency to kind of get back on my feet financially and fix all that. It's taken me now 9 months to be able to let that go, that hope go, that this is going to fix that problem. I believe it's going to fix that problem, but the change is I am not expecting it to fix that problem today or tomorrow or even in the next year. I'm going to look at other avenues to help support that. I'm going to double down on my health and getting well, and trading is going to be less of the primary focus of my life. It's going to be a main pillar of what I do each day to try to take control of my situation, but it's not going to be the end-all be-all. Having just decided that is a massive weight off my shoulders. Eliminating that expectation, that objective, right? Allowing me to just focus on the process of becoming a better trader. It's huge. And that was one of the problems with Trade the Pool, is their evaluations are, there's a time limit. You only get 60 days to pass. You should be able to, but I'm just not there yet. I'm not a great trader, not even a good trader. So I could never get ahead of it. I need to be able to just take it at my pace, and really focus on not blowing an account. Small steps, steady growth. And that's my plan. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for a while. I'm going to get that first payout. I'm going to film everything. I got a trade review that I put out a couple days ago. That is the first day on this new account. I'll do that every time I take a trade, and I'll just keep you guys updated on the progress. I don't have any journal entries to really talk about yet, but as they come along, I'll share them, show you my stats, and yeah, I'm excited, but not too excited. I'm gonna take a step back and just let this thing happen the way that it's supposed to happen. And I don't get to know what that looks like, but I have faith that we'll get there. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, huge, and thank you. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let me know what you think of this concept, this new strategy, and if you're going to follow along. See ya.